All right, let's dive into something that affects millions of people, but is still so misunderstood. We're talking about emotional speech blocks.
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if speaking, something so many of us take for granted, wasn't simple at all? What if it was a constant battle against this, invisible wall that traps your thoughts, your dreams, everything in silence? Today, we're going to explore what that feels like and how one particular method offers a real path to freedom.
To even begin to understand emotional speech blocks, or ESBS, you have to start with the feeling. This isn't just about tripping over a word here and there. It's about feeling completely trapped by the very act of trying to communicate.
This quote from Asia Kutzbalska, a model who went through this herself, just hits the nail on the head. It really gets to the heart of it. This isn't some mechanical issue with your mouth or your tongue. It's a deep social fear. It's being afraid of the interaction, the judgment, the conversation itself. And this visual, wow, it captures that internal experience perfectly. It's like you're caught in this prison of thorns. Every single time you try to speak, to break free, it just hurts more. For someone with an emotional speech block, that's what daily life can feel like. And the real fight actually starts way before a single word is even spoken. Inside your head, there's this constant negative loop playing, a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. And because of this, simple words, things like hello or your own name, can end up on a mental blacklist. Words that are so terrifying, you'll do anything to avoid them. And bit by bit, your whole world just starts to shrink.
So to really get what's happening inside the brain, we're going to look at this amazing metaphor from the source material. It's such a powerful way to see this whole complex process in action.
Okay, so check this out. It basically lays out the entire mechanism. I want you to think of your ability to speak as a big, flowing river. But for someone with ESBS, that river is being controlled by a giant dam. And that dam, well, it's being monitored by a watchtower.
So what is the dam? It's pure physical tension. It's that tightening you feel in your throat, in your jaw, your chest. When that dam closes, speech literally cannot get through. It's like the body's own stress response is physically blocking the words. And floating down the river toward the dam are these ships. Now, each ship represents a different social situation. It could be a telephone, a microphone, ordering food at a restaurant, or even just talking to a specific person. And based on past experiences, each one of these ships has a different threat level. And watching everything from above is the watchtower. This is the emotional part of our brain, the amygdala. It's constantly scanning for danger. So it sees a threatening ship approaching. Let's say it's a microphone for public speaking, and it sounds the alarm. It sends an immediate order, slam the dam shut, and boom, tension floods the body and the words are blocked. And here's the thing, this metaphor of the watchtower and the dam, it isn't just some clever story. It's actually a perfect analogy for a very real neurological response that happens to all of us. But for people with ESBS, it's just hyperactivated. Get this. For a person with an emotional speech block, a simple, everyday conversation can trigger the exact same primitive survival response as seeing a tiger in the jungle. The brain doesn't know the difference between a social threat and a physical one. It just sees danger, hits the freeze button, and cuts off the ability to speak. So when you're living with this constant threat of the dam slamming shut, you get really creative. You develop these incredibly complex strategies just to get by in a world that's built on talking. And these coping strategies basically fall into two camps. On one hand, you have trucks. These are all the modern tools we use to avoid speaking. Things like food delivery apps, online shopping, texting instead of calling. Then, on the other hand, you have cranes. And cranes aren't things, they're people. They're the friend, the parent, the teacher who just gets it. Their presence alone can actually lower your tension and help you speak more freely. They lift you up. Okay, so if your old river of speech is always getting blocked by this dam, what do? Well, the solution proposed by the Nawa Mova, or new speech, method isn't to try and dynamite the dam. The idea is to build a brand new channel for the river to flow through, a whole new path. This quote is really the core philosophy of the whole thing. You can't mix the old, panicked, high-tension way of speaking with this new, calm and controlled way. It just doesn't work. It's like trying to listen to two completely different songs at the exact same time. You just get noise. You have to commit 100% to the new system to let it actually work. So let's look at Asia, the model we heard from earlier. Her journey through this therapy was incredible, but demanding.
First, she spent 4 full days in complete silence, just resetting her brain. Then, she literally had to relearn how to speak from scratch, one syllable at a time. And then came the ultimate test, going out and approaching total strangers on the street to practice this new way of speaking under real-world pressure.
And this intense process, this building of a whole new pathway in your brain for speech, it does more than just change how a person talks. It totally rebuilds their reality, their confidence, their sense of who they are. The author of the book we're drawing from, who struggled with this for 20 years, described his old self this way. He said he felt his hope just shrinking, his confidence vanishing, and his body literally petrifying from all the tension and fear, just turning to stone. Now contrast that feeling of turning to stone with this. This is Asia's triumphant moment on a national modeling show. She's standing there, confident, well-spoken, and she knows it. She says, flat out, that without building her new speech, she simply wouldn't be there, period. It opened up a life that was completely inaccessible to her before. The method uses one last beautiful metaphor for this new life. It says every single success you have with your new speech, no matter how small, like ordering a coffee or making a phone call, it's like a single blade of grass. And over time, all those little victories grow together, and they transform this barren landscape into a huge, vibrant green meadow of fluent, fearless communication. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? For anyone out there who is facing their own dam, their own prison of thorns, the journey to build a new channel isn't really just about learning to speak again. It's about unlocking a whole new life, a new identity, and discovering all the amazing triumphs that are just waiting for you on the other side of silence.